it's father time. Here we are, Bradley International Airport. I have the Razor Files field enhancement package, which is pretty nice. This is about an hour from my house, so it's near and dear to my heart. But real problem I have is when we're going to Kennedy today in this bad boy, and my Kennedy scenery pack it's shot. It's gone. I don't know what happened to it. It's flat land. All the buildings, terminals are just black spots on the ground. But anyway, got a bunch of action going on over here. And that's not why we're here, though, to look at that. Today, we are here for this little guy, FMC work. It's going to do some FMC work. We're going to load it manually, automatically manually, and take off, fly over to Kennedy and do some talks about holding and descents and airway intercepts and point-to-point and radial-to-radial. Get some of that work done today. So anyway, first thing you do is you check the database. I've already aligned the IRSs by the way. And make sure the engine's the correct database is good. It changes over today. You could switch it over. The other one will be loaded in here in real life. Bottom right, remember that, bottom right. I put in the airfield, Bradley, and the boxes will be here about 2 or 3 minutes after turning on the ADA-RU, the IRSs. Drop the coordinates in there, and it's going to align with those coordinates. Bottom right. KBDL-JFK, let's see if there's a route in there. Survey says, come on, baby. I did that through, of course, SimBrief and SimBrief Downloader. We'll see if our route's in there. We're waiting. Like I said, we'll do this automatically, then we'll do it manually. There it is. Load it. Boy, when you go to Delhi or South America, it takes a long time for this route to upload. It's got a lot of data to put in there. It's a short flight today. There it is. Activate and execute. Departure arrival. Does not load the SIDS. Doesn't load the stars. Bradley 6, runway 24 is what I'm going to do. No VATSIM today. We're going to do this unaccosted. Our arrival here, Kennedy, is the Kingston. We'll say the ILS-4 right. And there we go. And so legs, route data, load. There they are. This W means winds. If you wanted to change which winds you updated, you could change the altitudes if you wanted, and then upload the winds for certain altitudes. But we'll just keep these. That's good. VNAV, secondary, descent, forecast. Forecast winds did not come up. So init, performance, accept, and 0 view weight. There's the descent forecast winds. So impatient. I am so impatient. Forecast, load, right? Here we go. And there are the winds. Init, we loaded the init data. 0 view weight. That's our route of flight. Bradley out of Hartford, coming up our eastern Long Island on in for the, actually I'll do the ILS to 22 left. But if I wanted to, right, I could do this. Boop. And there we go. AA-123 KJFK to Bradley to JFK with Washington Dulles as an alternate. 777-200. Airtime is only 39 minutes. Block time's 107. Cruising, we're going to cruise at 12. No sense going up too high. Navlog, there we go. What am I looking for? I'm looking for 0 view weight, 382, I call it 383, and fuel 30.8. 383, 30.8. Boom. 383, and fuel, the handy dandy fueling app, 30.8. All right, 33, 30.8. That looks good. So now we've got the data in there. Init, perf. That's all set up. We're going to go at 12,000. 120 work. Cost index, that's good enough. Higher the cost index, faster you go. If you get anywhere from 0 to 9,999. If you put in 9,999, it goes as fast as it can go. If you put in 0, it goes as slow as it can go. anywhere in between. Usually they're around 80 or so for most flights. We'll give you a 0.83 Mach. Thrust limit, that looks good. Takeoff, gonna go flaps 5 on the 200, 15 usually on the 300, 25 is a good CG, and activate these points. As soon as I do that, I come up here and I put in 155 runway heading and 5,000. And LNAV, VNAV, although we're going to be heading select here. So I'll do this, undo that, and you got it. VNAV, heading select, toga. All right, that's it. That's automatic. That's as fast as it goes. Let's do it manually. Just select this up. Bradley, KJFK. There we go. We'll put in runway 24 and flight AAL 123. And we go to route page 2 and we go in here and it's quiet. Go all the way down. You got direct Hartford, so HFD. HFD. And I put it in the, I must put it in the upper left. Whew. Someone's tired, Lord. Kumbaya. So Tango 216 to GON. Tango 216 to GON. Right? Now, want to see something cool? Let me show you something. So from there, it's Victor 308 to Burroughs. But what if, Victor 308 to Burroughs, what if we did this? We take out GON, right? We had the delete. And Victor, oh. It's not letting me do this. We go Tango 216, right? Instead of putting in GON, put Victor 308. It figures out GON. So we don't usually do that. We do manually load it sometimes, but sometimes you get an exercise in the box, or you would that sim, and the guys say, yeah, American maintain Tango, intercept airway Tango 216, and then intercept Victor 308. You get charts flying. What you can do is go in the route page, and then the left side, forget about GON, put in Tango 216, doesn't know where it's going. You tell it over here. So the airway goes in the left, Victor 308, and it figures it out. You learn that from Father Time. That's a little trick. Only do it on recurrent training. That's the only time we ever do it. Then it's Burroughs and Calverton. Burroughs and Calverton. B-O-R-O-S. And then Calverton is CCC. And what's after that? Rober, and that's it. Then Rober. And the flight plan is saying they're planning on 31 left, but we're going to put in departure arrivals. We're going to do the Parch 3. We'll just go 22 left Parch, 22 left. And we'll go up to Deer Park. Let's see what that gives us. Hartford gone, Rober, and Rober. Move it on up. Move it on up. Activate, execute. And then if we want to do the winds, we go winds, route data. We can go here, tell them what altitude we want. I just want 12,000, right? And ask for the winds. And it'll all come up, wind request. And it's only going to come up for 12. All right? Then, so that's manually. So then, of course, we would go through the points together. You and I, we'd start, I always start off, it's technique. It's wind data's here. Thank you very much, sir. Wind load. I always start when I check the legs. Execute. Descent. It's so busy. Descent. Cruise. Go to descent page. Forecast. Load. If you're not getting any ACARS updates, it's because you did not activate the winds. Almost always. See, we got winds for decent winds all the way from 35, but we're only going to 12. So VNAV, going to 12, 12, 12. Everything looks good. Okay. So let's go to init. Got flaps 5. That's all in there from last time. 24. Like that. 155 is up in the window. We got RTO. And I think we are pretty much ready to start engines. All right, so so you're clear to start. Parking brakes are set. We actually start on the 200. We start down here. Turn that on. Wait for the fault light to go out. This is to prevent fluid transfer. You can actually go wax on, wax off, sort of like the Karate Kid. Lights out, and then you can turn the rest on. Or a lot of airlines like to go turn on these electric pumps, and then these electric pumps. So wax on. Then you go to fuel pumps. There's nothing for the center, so you leave those off. Nav would have been on. Beacons now on because you're about to start engines or move the airplane. Seatbelt sign for whatever people we have on this cargo bird. Everything else looks good. And we'd say, okay, call for push. They do that. If you want to do a checklist on this thing, you come up here, do check. Oxygen's checked. Flight instruments are checked. Go to the normal checklist. For start, MCP is checked. We've got 5,000, 237s running heading, auto on the bank, 155s V2, auto throttles are both on, flight directors are on, autopilot disengage switches on, flight directors on, and you got heading toga, VNAV with no LNAV. So that's complete. CDU pre-flight's complete. We did our verification. Trim, we set that. Taxi briefing, we just set that. This is not a demonstration of systems. This is strictly us briefing up and doing some FMC work. All right. I'll push back and I will get back to you. You know what? Know what I thought? You probably don't care. Let me just do the pushback here with you. Pushback. Coming out of here. Let's see. Push type. I got to select the tug and push type. Not straight out. I want to go turn the nose left 90 degrees. That's standard. Dot the I as they do the same thing, and then they pull up a little bit. I've never done that one. Let's try that. You can actually set how far back, but we're not going to do that. So let's try that.
Ground.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Grant.
Go ahead. We've been cleared for pushback and start. They want the tail to our right.
Oh, you know what?
Ready to push. Tail to the right.
Guys.
Brakes release, please.
What did we forget to do? I can't believe you guys forgot to do this. Ground connections, right? Let's see what's all out there. Yeah, I'm so used to having people do all that work for me. Looks like we got to get rid of the cargo loader over there. What's that doing? Right? Do we have doors open? Yeah. Looks like it's closing very slowly. All right, all right. I think they were smarter than I was. They were doing that stuff. Let me make sure I got all the doors closed here. Oh, return, doors, arm all. It's worth taking a look at the doors, isn't it? Doors. I only get the one L and one R arm because it's a cargo flight. If we do a ferry flight, we have to do one L and R as well. Don't have to arm the rest of them. Okay, those are done. Just want to make sure everything else is off there. Yep, chocks are removed. Yep, they're removed. And I just don't know how much this does for us. ground maintenance does, ground operations. Okay, let's look back outside again. All right, looks safe. Yeah, fun stuff. Okay, parking brakes released. I don't know if he's still down there. Start.
Cockpit to ground.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. We've been cleared for pushback and start. They want the tail to our right.
Copy that. Ready to push. Tail to the right. Parking brakes release, please.
All right, so we've got a dot the I. So a T turn, an L is go back, straight back, and 90 degrees. You set whatever degrees you want. Don't forget to put the tug on. But if you want to dot the I, it takes you out and pulls you forward. They do that a lot. Say, yeah, and tell your ground crew to drop you off of being gate 24, whatever. So let's go outside and watch that. This is not FMC work, but it is Captain Marvel here playing with the simulator. My intent is when this makes it over to Microsoft Flight Simulator is to go back over there. I like the graphics a lot better. I also own a lot of scenery packs over there. Make sure this brother's going to move us over. What do you think? Yeah, I don't know how smart this system is. This is nice graphics on the Razor Files Bradley. Let's go up a little higher. Make sure he's not going to put us in the dirt. Nope. Looks pretty good. We would have gotten permission from ground, obviously, to push onto an active taxiway. Yeah. This is not FMC work, I know. I'm just enjoying. I watched a video on this pushback. You know, I know there's a GPX where you can bring jet bridges up, things like that. GSX. I have a pushback, 2-bar pushback over a Microsoft Flight Simulator, so I'm not in a hurry to do a lot more. This is adequate for me, for what I'm doing. I'm just staying on the 777, teaching some lessons on it. Since I am active on it, I have a couple thousand hours. I'm presently flying it, at least till September, when I have to retire. Although, I did just get a job offer for 777 operation called Eastern Airlines. I don't know if I want to do that. It's about half the pay I'm making now, and I'm pretty sure I'm done traveling. But it is tempting to fly this for a couple more years. I just would have to see how hard they would work us. Anyway, I think that's good. Dot the I right there, my friend.
Pushback complete. Parking brake set.
All right, I like that. So that was dot the I, right? Push back and pull forward.
Copy that. Ready to push. Tail to the right. Parking brakes release, please.
I just got rid of them. Let me see. He's gone. All right, guys. So we were cleared to start. We'll get the engine started. This is not exactly FMC work, is it? To start engines, we come up here. We go 200. You can start both engines at once. Auto start stays in. You go to start, and yeah, we'll do a whole profile. I know one of my guys wanted me to do that, so I'll do that for you. I'm going to come up here and do the secondary engine page. Next challenge will be doing it on VATSIM, right? I guess I should set up a phony squawk here. How's that? TARA. All right, we've done the starting dealie before, but it's an auto start. It'll start up to 3 times within an hour. It'll auto start. It will shut it down. Right now we're looking for oil pressure rise, which we got. That's the big one. Here's the ignition on both engines. See these little red ticks here? When those go out, the engine is fully started. Not until. There's one. The left one's fully started. Right one is fully started. I look for 2, 4, 6, 8. I look something in the 2s, something around in the 4s, and something around in the 6s here. And the 8, the oil, it gulps the oil. We're down to 23 on the oil. 2, 4, 6, 8. Right now we turn on the engine ice, right? And I would say it's 2 normal. The FO would say 2 normal starts. I say, Roger, you go flaps 5, I would call for flaps 5 and come up top, and one of us would shut off the APU. I usually try to do it. It's a long reach for a lot of people. All right. Looks like that's it. That's it. Let's go both side. Check the flight controls. The FO usually does the ailerons and elevators. They like to go 6 seconds start to finish. Like, watch the elevators. They would go like this. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007, 1008, 1009, 1010. So that was nice and slow. Same thing here. At least 6 seconds. Otherwise, you get a lot of banging around back there. It's very noisy. It alarms the passengers. All right. So let's see. Before taxi checklist, we go here. Right. Get that bad boy going. Gone down. For taxi, anti-ice is not required. That's 10 degrees Celsius, 50 degrees Fahrenheit, visible moisture, visibility a mile or less, or stuff on the taxiway, snow or ice. This is a recall. It's this button. Anything that was wrong would pop back up in amber. Let's take a look at what we have here. APU cool down, go to 1.5 minutes cycle before it shuts down. Parking brakes set, doors are auto, they're on, passenger signs on. That's good. And nothing recalled. Got this. Okay, recall's good. Flight controls are checked. Ground equipment is clear. Before taxi checklist is complete. It's a little more to it than that. I love this electronic checklist. You guys would too, believe me. Okay, that's it. We call for taxi. Nothing to do with the FMC just yet. If they did a runway change now, if they were to do a runway change, said runway 33, a lot of different ways to do it. Usually you go in here, route page, change that to 33. It would clear out the takeoff data. Oh, we can do it, right? Boom. Oh, takeoff speed's deleted. We have to go to takeoff, put them back in for runway 33, like that. And remember to always check page 2. We're NADT 2, which is USA. NADP 1 would be in Europe. And we put in 3,000 for the Excel, 1,500 thrust reduction, 800 engine out. That's a 980 engine out altitude with no procedures. But runway change, 24. We'd have to rebrief all the takeoff data if they did that. And I go back to takeoff because I want to go off runway 24 instead of 33. It's a longer runway. Okay. Clear left and right. Go to taxi. And Bradley Ground, American 123 Heavy, taxi. Roger, American 123 Heavy, taxi to runway 24, altimeter 2992, and information uniform. Roger, American 123 Heavy, 2992, information uniform. We've got it. Alrighty. Things we talk about here, I would call for before takeoff checklist. The closeout would come up through the box. We compare our zero, it update automatically. We compare our zero fuel weight to what we had. We weights, winds, and temperatures. So we'd want to talk about where the weights came in. Are we above our assumed temperature, which is our reduced power temperature? We have to get new data or go max power. Check the new numbers. Weights, winds. Do we have a headwind? If we have a tailwind, we might be able to take a couple of knots up to 10. But and this runway we probably could. But in today's case, we'll say we have a headwind, weights, winds, and temperatures. If it's above we're doing a max power takeoff and it's above the planned takeoff temperature, then we would have to get new numbers. It would never be above the assumed takeoff temperature for reduced. Weights, winds, and temperatures checked. And FO would say takeoff data and bugs. Captain would check the zero fuel weight, cross-check what he just said. And off we go. I've talked about this in many videos, but if you want to know where your nose gear is on any of the Boeing products, it's right about under the speed tape. So this tells me we're left of center line, right? Correct? Left of center line. See how the speed tape is left? Let's go outside. Left. Go back on. Put that speed tape on there. That's for all the Boeings. 7.3, 7.4, This bad boy, 7675. That tells me we're just about on the line. Back outside. And you can see we are on the line. A little bit left. Let's see what that looks like inside. Yeah, okay, pretty good. And in between this bar here on the Airbus A320, that's where your nose gear is. A little smaller PFDs and NDs. All right, American 123 cargo flight. You're clear for takeoff, runway 24. Clear for takeoff, runway 24. American 123 cargo flight. Going to Kennedy. Gang load the lights. Chime for anyone in the back, right? And finals clear. We're clear for takeoff. So we'll go over a couple of things that we'll do. We'll try to do some work. Maybe we'll do a little holding. We'll do an RNAV approach, which is a lot of FMC work into Kennedy. We'll do the RNAV to runway 22 left. I hope this is what you guys wanted. Hey, I tried to stream. I've never streamed before. I've got a 24-hour waiting period before I can stream. So I applied for it. So tomorrow at this time, I could stream. I was going to do one unannounced because I didn't want any witnesses. Because I'm frightened. Not as afraid as I was to go on VATSIM. But, you know, you guys have already seen my ugly old face. So that trauma's over. I don't know how that got on. I reinstalled P3D today from scratch, trying to get my scenery packs to work. I thought maybe I removed a file.
On runway 24.
So evidently, all my things came back. So, all right, here we go. Let's go to Kennedy.
Speed alive. 80 knots.
Check.
V1.
Rotate. V2. Positive rate of climb.
And gear up, please. We're cleared, let's say somewhere in here, they clear us over to a 280 heading. That seems to be what they do out of here. I've flown in VATSIM a couple of times. And get the flaps coming up. Why don't we go the other way? Climbing like a crazy man. All right, climb power came back at 1500. And we're going to level off at 5. And American 123 Bradley departure, we're leveling at 5,000. Roger, American 123, climb maintain 12,000. So I click in 12,000 and I press on it. And we're still in VNAV speed. We're climbing up. And that's it. So now let's look at a little FMC work. What are we supposed to do? All right, American 123, you're clear, left turn, direct Hartford. Left turn, direct Hartford, American 123. So, line select 1L, Hartford, ask how it looks, execute. It's not LNAV, so we got to come up here and press LNAV. And away we go to Hartford. I remember what our route was, right? It was Hartford, Tango 16, direct to Boros. Victor to GON, Victor 308 Boros. And American 123. Upon level at 12,000, we have some more instructions for you, sir. American 123, go ahead, sir. American 123, Kennedy's not accepting any arrivals right now. They'd like you to hold. So upon reaching Golf Oscar November, hold on course, and your expect further clearance time is 1815. Okay, upon reaching Golf Oscar November, American 123, expect a standard holding on course, and 1815 on the EFC. That's right, American. All right, guys, so they told us they want us to hold on course at GON. So all we gotta do is go here, GON, you go to hold. That's the missed approach holding, so you gotta go to the next hold. Next hold, GON. Now if there's a published hold there, we'd have to put it in. But right now there isn't. So we're at 12,000. A couple of things, right? Our max holding speed at 12 is 230 knots. It's 206 and below, 230 below 14 down to 6, 265, 14 and above. So we're 230. Right now it's saying it wants us to hold at 206. So how does that look? And he says standard holding pattern, right hand turn, hold on course. What if he said hold southeast on the GON, northeast on the GON 060 degree radial, left-hand turns. All right, so a couple of different ways. 060 degree radial is the 240 course, right? Could put 240 inbound, left-hand turns, so you go 240 and L for left. And there it is. What if you just said hold south northwest on the 060 degree radial, left-hand turns. So you could you could just go 060 outbound. That's a quad radial, northeast, left-hand turns. It's the same thing. So I put the inbound course in, but I could have just put the outbound radial. But they're all the same thing. And we're holding below 14, so it's a 1 minute holding pattern. Above 14, we're going to execute that. It's going to be one minute below 14, minute and a half above 14. And Boston, American 123 request, yes, sir. American 123 request 20-mile legs. Roger, maintain holds northeast on the 060 degree radial. Left-hand turns 20-mile legs. American 123. 060 degree radial, left-hand turns 20-mile legs. So I put in 20 leg distance and execute it. And remember, its EFC was 1815. So I put in 1815 EFC and execute it. So we be contemplating our bingo fuel right now. Right now we're scheduled to land with 14. We go to our miscellaneous 14. We'd figure out what our reserve plus alternate was. Our reserve plus alternate, Dulles was our reserve. So we'd have about it's like a 14.8 reserve. That's the fuel to go from a missed approach at Kennedy over to Dulles and still arrive with our 45 minutes reserve. So it's 14.8. Newark would be a little less. So we could try to get our alternate changed to Newark to save us a little fuel, let us hold a little longer. Right now we have 23.6. Let's say we're going to land at Kennedy with 14. What if we got rid of this reserve? Let me show you something here. If you put in 0. Oh, so now let me change that. Usually you can change it. How about if I go to 10? There we go. Now, so we got our alternate changed to Newark. So we got about 4,000 pounds of holding. Not much, guys. What are we burning? Our fuel flow right here is 66, so about 13,000 pounds an hour. So, 4, that's around 15 minutes of hold. Plus, you know, maybe if we were really holding here, we'd just go back and land at Bradley probably. The airplane is slowing down to our holding speed. We're gonna have to help it. A couple of things in holding. We talked about the speeds and the timing. You don't want to have flaps out and icing, so try to not hold in an icing area. We would tell company via ACARS that we're holding at Golf Oscar November with a 1815 bingo time, which means we're not going to be able to hold till our EFC. So we would tell the center that we would need an EFC probably of 17, really about 15 minutes, 1748 or so. And he'd probably say couldn't do it. Kennedy's not accepting arrivals for whatever reason, and we'd have to do it. I'd also request permission to hold. Well, we're at 14, so we can hold a little faster. Guys, let's do this. VNAV 230, so I don't have to put out any flaps, which will give us more drag, right? 230, hold. Where's the hold page here? Hold 230 and 120. I don't really, that's below our clean min maneuver, so there it is. Let's talk about what fixed ETA is. So we're slowed down to holding speed. We don't need permission because we're cleared to hold at up to 230 here, right between 6 and 14. That's our max speed. 200 below 6, 6 below, and above 14 and above is 265. So we're good here. If you want to figure out a quick way to figure out a clean min maneuver, you take your add 100 knots to your approach speed. So if you look here, our flaps 30 approach speed is 137 plus 100, right? Is 237. That's really what this thing, what we would want to be holding at. So we're right about there. So it's going to enter hold. The days, we don't even do it anymore. What kind of, to check airmen, you say, what kind of entry is it going to be without looking at the box? We'd have our hands up in the air and doing these things, and left hand direct entry. In this case, it's a direct entry. We just turn to a parallel heading, enter holding. Exiting holding. There's a few different ways to get out of holding. Number one, you can go direct to the next point, right? You can go heading select and get out of there, but also on the hold page, there's a should be, once we're in there, there'll be an exit hold prompt, and that'll make the aircraft will make a shortest direction turn to the holding fix and exit hold. So we'll look at those. So you can go direct, heading select, heading hold, or exit hold when we get in there. Now you are required to tell them when you're entering holding, whether you're in Europe or in America. So American 123 is entering the hold at Golf Oscar November. American 123, Roger. And so if you're taking a look here, and our reserve plus alternate is 10, right? That's the fuel to get over to Newark from missed approach on over. And right now we're saying to get there, we have about 4,000 pounds to play with. We're burning 12,000 pounds an hour. So that's really only around 20 minutes, and you want to build in some fluff. So really we can only hold here till 1748. It's a miracle. I said that, so that's it. I keep the heading going, guys, as a good habit pattern, because if they ever gave you a heading and you hit heading select, it might turn the wrong way. So you want to keep that heading in the ballpark. I just put in the outbound head, no wind heading, 060. Kind of keep it slewed around. Make a PA to the people on this cargo bird. We tell company what we're doing. If they kept us holding here, we're better off just going back to Hartford, honestly, to the UPS facility since we're a cargo flight. So now we're in the hold. How do we get out? Holding. Exit hold. If I do exit hold right now, let's say American 123, they'll take you now. You're cleared to exit the hold at GON. Roger, exit the hold at GON. I'm going to go exit hold. Execute. And it's armed. See, it's turning around to go over GON and be on its merry way instead of flying that 20-mile leg. Or we can go heading select, or we can go LNAV. We could go direct to GON. Legs, direct to GON. Execute. And there you go. Or we can go heading hold. And those are the ways. Now we're cleared to exit hold. So really, the airspeed we can do now, let's just do around 290. No need to maintain holding speed. And here we go. All right, so that's some holding FMS work. We talked about airway to airway. How about if they said, yeah, American? I don't know when they do this. They used to do this all the time in the sim. Let's go way out here. American, proceed direct to the Hampton, the intersection of GON 220 radial and Hampton 300 radial. All right, so GON 220 and Hampton 300. Legs, I'm going to put it right here just to make sure it makes sense. And that's it. Comes up with a point. Oh, it says invalid entry. Well, you know why? It might not actually intercept. So let me do this. Go out a little further, and I'll get a station, a VOR. A little further. All right. How about the Calverton? What do we got here? This is fun stuff. Come on, guys. Calverton 160 in the GON. How about after GON, American, maintain the 130 radial until intercepting the Calverton 260 degree radial. I think it's going well. Let's go route. What we can do now, we can go Calverton 230 at 20. I mean, GON, right? That's that one. This. And I see what the problem is. It's not going to intercept the Calverton. So let's go off of Nantucket. But that will go inbound. So, yeah, let's go Calverton. That looks like about 270. Calverton 270 at 60. I just want to put that in here to see what that looks like, guys. So that's not far enough. So Calverton, I'm just having a little fun here. Calverton 270, Calverton, how about 100 at 100? Just want to see if I can get one that works. All right, so let's do this. GON 070 in Calverton. What do we say? 070 070. Let's do this. There we go. Anyway, what that's supposed to do is maintain the 070 degree radial outbound until you reach the Calverton, then proceed inbound. That was a horrendous example of doing it, guys. So please, please. Yeah, you really have to know your VORs in the area to get it done. But we'll clean this up now that we've thoroughly embarrassed ourselves. Let's go direct to Rober and put an end to this exercise. But that's how you go radial to radial. You just have to know where the radials are, and I don't. Okay, so here we are, VNAV. Let's go over there at 290, actually 250. And go to Rober at 9. So we're cleared, American cleared down to 9,000. Go down to 9. Flight level, change it on down. And 250. All right, so yeah, that's normally okay. I'm not going to do it again. Don't worry. But normally you go GON. If you want to go radial to radial, we talked about airway to airway, like 070 to intercept. You'd have to know what the actual intercept point was to the Calverton /050. And if you put that in, that would be the point where those two intersection, and they tell you to proceed direct there. Navigational, if they told you to go direct to the Calverton 050 at 15, which is just a point-to-point, that would just be Calverton .050 at 15, and you put it in like that, and that's a point-to-point. So radial to radial will be basically a point-to-point, and or you can put it in like that. And we talked about course to course, airway to airway, Victor 315, you put that in here, Victor 107 here, and that'll maintain Victor 315 until it intercepts Victor 107. Yeah, they used to give us all that stuff. They kind of got away from that these days. Now, if we, let's see, going down to 9, let's look up departures, arrivals, RNAV, X-ray into 22 left, off Deer Park, RNAV X-ray 22 left, Deer Park. Go to Prague, page 4, because it's on RNAV. You got to put in 125 here, and I've done a whole presentation on this. You guys have seen this before. 125 makes these bars over here or accurate for your required navigational planning versus actual navigational planning. And you also put in your RNP. It assumes 0.3 on final. It says 0.3, and if it was anything less, you can go all the way down to 0.1. You put that in. So we'll get those two set. And let's go to Navigraph. If I can get it there. Navigraph and departures, arrivals. Select. Let me see. Scores. Rangers. Cancel. There. JFK. 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 We already did the arrival, approach, and RNAV, GPS, X-ray, 22 left. All right, there it is. RNAV, GPS, X-ray, 22 left, Deer Park. And let's go back and check that stuff. Here we come. We're going into Rober. I apologize for that, guys. RNAV, GPS, X-ray, 22 left. Make sure we got the correct one set here. RNAV, GPS, X-ray, 22 left. That's set. We've got to check our legs. We set in Prague, page 4. 125 and the actual RNP on that. GPS, we don't need permission. RNAVs, we'd have to have permission from the FAA, so we'll assume we got that permission. Get the ATIS here. Got the weather. Here's our legs. We got to compare this against the actual thing here. So there we go. Let me just put this on here. RNAV GPS X-ray. And there it is. So with it nice and quiet. We got Deer Park. It looks like a 2900. There's Deer Park. We're going to go direct Deer Park right now, guys. It's nice having this kind of power, right? Direct Deer Park. Okay. We got to check all the park points. Deer Park, that's a good altitude. Capit, 2900. 2900 or above. You get Eni, which is the FAF at 1700. 1700. You got Zazdo, at or above 8. That's at or above 8. And going down to a LNAV, VNAV. It's a decision altitude, so we don't have to add anything to it. 413. Put in 413. Go. I'm sitting in 413 in the barrow down there. All right, 413 is set. That's our decision altitude. We'd also have to check the glide path, 3.48. That's pretty steep, 3.48 on the glide path. We look down here, it says 3.0. So anyway, the way we're going to fly this thing, so it's going to be pitch 2900. We got these all points all checked. And by the way, the whole missed approach is in the box. Climb and left turn to chat. So we're required to check all those things. And after landing, it'll be a right-hand turn off at Juliet, hold short of 22 right. So here's 22 left, 8,400 feet of runway. Turn off at Juliet, hold short of 22 right, eventually taking Alpha all the way around November Charlie to the gate, which we won't do, since it has nothing to do with the FMC. Now let's get this out a little further. We can see. Yeah, so that's how we set up for an RNAV in the FMC. When we start getting ahead of ourselves here. Deer Park, we got a long way to go. When we're cleared for the approach, somewhere in there, the thing that we're always looking for is path, VNAV path, right? So we're clear for the approach. We'll put in our MINs, which is 413, probably 420 will go in the window. And then we're going to go LNAV, VNAV, speed intervene, and control our speed. So we call it 2 buttons, 2 windows. So it's LNAV, VNAV are the buttons. Windows, you put in the bottom altitude when you clear for the approach, and you speed intervene, takes a second, and you control the speed manually. 2 buttons, LNAV, VNAV, 2 windows, minimums, and in speed intervene and control that speed. 2 buttons, 2 windows. You monitor the prog. We can actually start down. Why don't we go down, be at Deer Park at 4. I'll put in 4. Yeah, 4,000 at Deer Park. Deer Park's 30 miles away. We'll just start on down to Deer Park. We'll get an LNAV, VNAV somewhere around Deer Park, and we'll let it fly in. So it's put in 4,000. 4,000. Flight level change. Right? There's 4,000. Flight level change. And down we go. We'll get ourselves all down, slowed down, configured. 230. We'll be clear for the approach at Deer Park. We'll get an LNAV, VNAV hooked up, and we'll fly it in on it's called a non-ILS. You can fly a non-ILS on an RNAV RNAV GPS VOR localizer, so with the glide slope out of service, you could actually fly it all the way in. You don't even ever have to hit the loc button. You'll have the raw data coming up behind the scene anyway on the PFT. All right, so let's just do the checklist. Approach is briefed. Oh yeah, one last thing. I'll go flaps 30 and brakes put on 3. All right, after takeoff's complete. Descent, recall, remember that? Let's go up here, hit recall. There's no open items, they pop up here. Notes or anything, when you do checklists like emergencies, a lot of times there's notes you have to refer to before landing. They're not enunciated. Auto brakes are 3, landing data, and if it's over 8,000 feet dry runway, you don't need to do landing data, but we do a landing data assessment on our landing app. It comes out to 3,800 feet. Approach brief is complete. Altimeters are set. Cross check. And we'll say that that's it. Just got landing, which will be speed brake, landing flaps, and gear. All right, so we're pretty much ready to go here. We'll do our RNAV GPS approach on in. Now, this was an RNAV approach, right? Where is it? RNAV GPS. RNAV RNP approach. It's a 0.2. Below 1,000, and if the weather's below 1,003, you can take it with the runway in sight. You can above 1,003, you can take off the autopilot on an RNP. But if it's below 1,003, you got to leave it on until close to minimums. That looks like a little more of an interesting approach. Want to do that one instead? Hey, let's do that one. That looks like a lot more interesting approach. RNAV RMP Zulu. Yeah, let's do that one. We got time, right? RNAV RMP Zulu. Off at Deer Park. Deer Park Trusty. Yeah, I got to review it again. What else are we going to do, guys? So we got Deer Park. We got Trusty at RNPO, and I got to set the, you see the RNP is 0.2. Got you get down a little lower. Prague, right? Page 4, 0.2. And now we do need permission to fly this. That would have to be in our white pages. We would also call dispatch via free text and see if we can get a nav accuracy check. A couple more things when you're going down below a 0.3 RNP into Kennedy. All right, 5 for 4 at Deer Park. We'll get it into VNAV here in a minute. Let's go back and review the rest of this as it flies. You've got Trusty at or above 3. We'll put a hard 3 in there. And we're going to go be at 210 and 3,000 at Trusty, a Tust. And Zakis at or above 9. And by the way, if you put on data here, you can see it all right there. Let's keep checking these bad guys. Zakis at or above 19, that's in there. Jerva at 19, at or above 19, at 19. I think we need to be slower than that. So let's be at 170. 170 if they'll let us. And 1900 at Jerva. As long as it's more conservative, you're good. And then Sojay, which really there's nothing there. That says 1429 on the path. That's just informational. And then Hector, it's a little bit of an arc onto final. And going down to RNP DA of 361. That's for 0.2 RNP. This is for 0.3. So if you couldn't get a verification from dispatch, you'd have to use this one. But if you get a verification from dispatch, you can get down to 361. So you can get down a little lower. I hope you guys enjoying this. 361. All right, we've changed over to RNAV RNP. Now we're at 4. They could clear us for the approach here. Let's say they did. What did I tell you? 2 buttons, 2 windows. So we got 1 button is LNAV, second button is VNAV. Push that button, and we'll maintain 240 for now, right? And then you can put the bottom altitude in, because we are in fact cleared for the approach. I want to show you something that's kind of cool. $370, it's 361 degrees. I've already got a path, but the quickest way to get into path, honestly, there's some rules. It's like within 20 miles on an interceptor, on a published portion of the approach, you'll get into path. Path is everything, right? The easiest way to get into path, right down here. You get those flaps out of the up position if you're having trouble getting into path. That's just a trick. So, so 2 buttons, 2 windows. 2 buttons would be LNAV, VNAV, speed intervene, get a speed you like, and then dial down to the minimums, and it's going to follow that VNAV path all the way around. So let's review what we did. We put in the ILS Zulu after much wrangling around, right? With a Deer Park transition. Because it's an RNAV RNP Zulu, we have to have permission in our white pages and our JEPs from. And company did get permission, certified, so we know we can do it. We are down below 0.3, so we need a predictability from dispatch. They make sure the satellite's reliability are going to be accurate during that period of our arrival. Sometimes it's already in the flight plan, but sometimes it isn't. They say, yes, sir, the satellite accuracy is good. All right, we can do it. If not, we'd have to go down to 0.3 instead of 0.2. Then we go to Prague 4. We put in 125 so that our required versus actual is accurate. This gap is accurate. And we put in 0.2, the actual RNP, so that we are flying it that as precise. It's monitoring it for that precision. That's what allows us to go down all the way down to 361, which is about 350 feet above the ground. Yeah, 350 feet above the ground. See, it does a nice job. We'll let it fly it down most of the way. We'll take off the autopilot at the last minute. And then we went through here. We checked the points, but what didn't we check? The glide path, 3.05. And it says 3.00. That's close enough. We checked the missed approach, and that's it. You always want to make sure you have a altitude at the runway. If you don't, if it's out here, the runway doesn't have an altitude, the aircraft will go misapproach. The way we're going to fly this is that we're going to, once we're inside the FAF, right, which is Jerva, and here it goes. There's path, it's flying down. Next altitude is Trusty at 3 and 210. So I'll help it out a little here. I'll put in 210. I sure hope you enjoy this. Somebody wanted me to do a full profile. And below 245, flaps 5. I wish I remembered how to do these. All right, and we see that 210 is well above the flaps 5 speed of 175. I don't want to get too slow. Kennedy be screaming at us. So once we're inside of the FAF, which is Jerva, and we're more than 300 feet below the missed approach altitude, which is 3,000, which we will be, we can set missed approach altitude of 3. You don't want to set it before that because it'll start to climb or level off. But you don't want to set it much after that before it'll level off at your decision altitude. It won't go below that. So once you're inside of Jerva, you got to get that set so it will continue to descend. The bars will drive out of view, and you're actually in the weather, you're required to go missed approach right away. We're required to see approach lighting there as we approach at the decision altitude. 100 feet, we got to see the runway with a DA. So we need the approach lighting at 361, runway at 100 feet above the ground. Right-hand turnoff, as we mentioned at Juliet, we have plenty of room. And I'm not going to need the speed brake, so I'm going to get that done now. Get that armed. Auto brakes are 3. One last check of landing data. 137, so 142 final. I'm only doing the RNAV because today is FMC day. Gave you a couple of things. So what did we review? We did airway to airway. We did radial to radial. Didn't work out so well, but it's because I didn't have the data in front of me. We talked about point to point, just going to a bearing and distance. We talked about RNAVs and how to set those up. This is the ultimate FMC exercise, right? We are flying the approach on the FMC. And of course oh wow, it's a little bit of turbulence there. Don't know how that came in. I like it though. I wonder if I can adjust the weather. I think I can. Let's not do it though. All right, so what are we looking for next? Zacchus right there at 1900. You see the path? This is required. If unable RNP came up, we'd have to go misapproach in the weather. Or if they said, I think there's another one where they say confirm RNP or something, we can continue. But unable RNP in the weather, it's a missed approach. So I'm just letting it fly now. What I'm monitoring is this is the big one, VNAV path, right? And I'm controlling the speed. It's doing a nice job. You're right in basically the glide slope of the VNAV. Over here you can double check that. You know, olden days, you guys probably used to like Prague 4, and it tells you vertical error 4. You don't have to do that anymore. You can come in here because we've got it all right in front of us, right here. So let's put this down to 10. We did that. Kind of a long one. I actually have to drive both my daughters. They're going to Iceland tonight for a week. I have to drive them down to Kennedy in about a half an hour. So it's going to work out well. I was kind of hoping to get this film in. There's Kennedy out there, guys. See it? Doing a nice job. The reason why we fly a lot of these RNAVs going in here, these two runways, 22 right and 22 left, are not far enough apart to fly simultaneous parallel ILS approaches. So this one over here is a displaced ILS. We can do it then, but it's a displaced ILS, so the minimums are higher. So they do a lot of the RNAV RNPs on in here to keep us separated a little bit more. All right, there's Jerva. That's active, so now we're more than 300 feet below misapproach altitude. So I can set this up to 3,000, the altitude, right, up to 3,000. And we did a Jerva crossing, and here we go. You can see that it's coming around really nicely. And we need to be getting the gear down, speed all the way back. And we're going a little bit fast, aren't we? I was sitting here yapping away. We'd be missed approach, guys, but I have to drive my kids to the airport, so. Autopilot's off. There we go. Fuel efficient, if nothing else, right? Stable target. Yeah. Sinking 800.
Approaching minimums.
Talking about going to Iceland, right?
Minimums.
Flying the VASIs. The RNAV tends not to be accurate. Oh, that's pretty accurate here as you get down lower. That tree is not there on final,
100.
guys. Break the sync at
50,
30.
30. 20. 10.
That's pretty funny. Talking about freaking Iceland. All right. We'll clear here. This is hotel. I said Juliet, but we'll get off early. Although I doubt,
4,000 feet
although I
remaining.
doubt anyone's right very close behind us. So that's what you call an unstable approach. So if you're not stable on a VFR approach at 500 feet, you have to go around 1,000 feet on IMC. We're pretty close to being stable there. So, and once we cleared, it's flaps up after landing checklist. And we're going to hold short of the right side. Flaps up, spoilers up. And I get all the lights off. And we hold short up here. All right, that's the FMC exercise, replete with a couple of interesting things that, of course, the radio-to-radio, I obviously was ill-prepared to demonstrate that, as I didn't know where those two radials would intersect. And I'm talking about Iceland instead of getting configured, but it worked out nicely. Got it done, got a lot of FMC work in, got my ugly mug on the screen again. I'm going to hold short of the runway and shut it down and go upstairs and be a dad. And anyway, I appreciate you guys. Take care. Take care of each other. We'll see you later. Father Time's out.